Mic 2.
Hey! Good afternoon, everybody. Good late morning, early afternoon. This is Samori Benjamin. As I come on the air, it's good to be back with everybody today. This is WHCR Radio, 90.3 FM. You're listening to WHCR Sports, and we are broadcasting live from our beautiful New York City studios in Harlem, from the home of the last college basketball team to win a national championship. Yes, that is City College. And right now also, we are being joined in the studio by Kayla Abreu, Women's Hoops. And Kayla, it's good to see you over there. And and yeah, folks, and there's a lot going on. You all know that I was in Texas, my first time ever in Texas, and I was there for the Major League Baseball All-Star game. I've gone every year since 2017, and before that, I went 2 other times. My first one was 2008, and my second one was 2013. Both of those were in New York City. 2008 was the last season of the old Yankee Stadium. That was an amazing, amazing event. That is probably my second best experience covering sports through these years. And the first one, since I mentioned the second one, the first one was the following year at the new Yankee Stadium when the Yankees won the World Series, and I got to cover all that, be a part of it, be in the locker room, be in the clubhouse. And that, of course, was the last time the Yankees were in the World Series. 15 years, and the Yanks, we hope that they can get back this year. And they started off with a great start, the best record in baseball. Last month, they've really been struggling, but they still only like 2 games off the pace for the best record in the American League. So we'll talk about the Yankees a little later, as they are in the Bronx right now, in the middle of a 4-game series against Tampa Bay. They won the first, they split the first 2. So right now it's 1-1. And shout out to Richie Palacios. He is a Tampa Bay Ray from Brooklyn, born and raised. And right now, he and his brother Joshua Palacios, who plays for Pittsburgh, they're the only New York City ball players who came from New York City that I can think of right now. Okay, so shout out to them. I interviewed Richie on Friday in the Bronx, so I'm going to post that later. But first, and the Mets, of course, if the playoffs began right now, they would be in it. So would the Yankees, so that would be a lot of fun. The Subway Series, part 2 of it is this week, Tuesday and Wednesday in the Bronx. The Mets last month beat the Yankees up in 2 games in Queens. That was during the Yankees' month-long struggle that they had been on. So Yankees looking for payback at home in their ballpark Tuesday and Wednesday night. Okay, so we're going to get to that later, but right now we are going to talk about, the best All-Star game that I've seen in a very long time in any sport. And so, yeah, I'm talking about the All-Star game, Major League Baseball All-Star game. Let me tell you, folks, unfortunately, everything but the actual game is great from my perspective covering these All-Star games, but the actual game itself I'm not that interested in it, to be honest with you, because the game is not taken seriously, because bottom line is, and I heard people talk about how the All-Star game has gone down in terms of interest over the years, because there was once a time, and you hear old baseball fans who watched the major leagues in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, they talk about how serious the Major League Baseball All-Star game was, how it was must-see TV, everybody was watching, and how it was the game. And the reason why it was, there's lots of different reasons, One, there was no interleague play until 1997. So up until 97, no American League and National League teams ever played each other, except for in the World Series and in the All-Star game, the 2 All-Stars from each league, okay? So that made it special. And then you had a situation where the best players in the game for a very long time, up until the last 20, 25 years or so, the best players on both leagues played the majority of the game, if not all of the game. And that's the biggest reason why the All-Star game is not the same. Because the best players come out of the game after like 2 innings, okay? And if you're a baseball fan, you want to see the best players. You want to see Aaron Judge. You want to see Juan Soto play all 9 innings, play the entire game. You want to see Ohtani play all 9 innings for the other side. So, all right, because baseball is a game that we know once you come out, you can't go back into the game. So once, all right, you have the best players coming out, like the most important part of the game is being played by bench players. I mean, they're all-stars, but they are the all-star reserves. So no team, all right, that's really trying to win a game is going to have their best players on the bench during, all right, in a baseball game. So that's the biggest reason why the Major League Baseball All-Star game is just really lacks interest. And then also, right, baseball is a sport where we know that it's hard to hit, first of all. So you have the best pitchers in the league throwing. So it's not easy for these hitters to get a lot of big blasts and all that, right? So, you're great pitching, okay, and you have the best players not playing a lot, which really takes away from the actual interest in the game, okay? But, like, there was a time, okay, because we know that, all right, segregation and no black players allowed in baseball up until 1947. And then even after that, the National League was the league that really brought in a lot of black ball players to their rosters. The American League was very slow to bring black players onto their rosters, okay? We know that the last Major League team to have a black ball player was the Boston Red Sox. We know that the Yankees took them up until 1955 before they had their first black ball player. Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in 1947 with the Dodgers. The Dodgers had several black players after that. You know, New York Giants had several black players. National League team. So for a long time, the American League, the All-Star game, you had a lot of black players on the National League, and the American League didn't have as many. And the black players on the National League, they wanted to win the All-Star game to prove a point. They wanted to beat the American League. I've spoken with Ernie Banks about this, right? I talk about the 2008 All-Star game that I was at, first one I ever covered at Yankee Stadium, and every living Hall of Famer was invited to that All-Star game, and I got a chance to meet and talk to, interview Ernie Banks, and he talked about the All-Star game and how it was serious. Him and Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, how they played, they wanted to beat the American League and prove that that black ball players were as good as the white ball players. The National League beat the American League several times in a row for a very long time, all right? And so, like, that was a big part of it, too. The All-Star game was serious, okay? So now it's just, all right, it's not that with the baseball, with any of the leagues, okay? NFL, they got rid of the All-Star game, the Pro Bowl. They got rid of it, all right? Because this is football. It's a very dangerous game. Here they are. They're done with the regular season. None of these guys want to get hurt in an exhibition All-Star game and now have to spend their whole offseason rehabbing. They can't do what they want to do. And so these guys just started getting paid too much for them to really go out there and put their bodies on the line in a football exhibition All-Star game, okay? They all like being named Pro Bowlers and All-Stars, but none of them actually wanted to actually go 100% for an NFL All-Star game. So that has been completely taken out. The NBA All-Star game, all right, as much as I love the NBA and I love the theatrics and I call the NBA All-Star game an athletic showcase, okay, because it is, you have these great athletes who are so graceful, so creative, fly through the air, great jumping ability, doing things that most humans will never be able to do. There are things that I see in the NBA All-Star game that I'll never be able to do, like the high-flying theatrics and the dunks. Like, most human beings, no matter what we do, will never be able to dunk a basketball on a 10-foot rim, okay? Like, so to me, that's why the slam dunk is the most incredible play in sports, okay? That's the big reason why basketball, to me, is as captivating. It's captivated the world. No other American sport people talk about the NFL, how popular the NFL is, okay? No American sport has captivated the world the way basketball has, okay? Basketball and hip-hop, all right? The two, they intertwine, both, all right? The art form of hip-hop, the genre, and the athletics, basketball, have spread through the world and captivated the world. And we had the Olympics coming up, and that's why, we'll see some of that in the Olympics, but the NBA All-Star game, it's great to see some of these guys, their creativity and athletic ability, but you want to see a serious game. You want to see the best players out there on the court going hard and actually trying to win the game, okay? And playing some defense, or the NBA, like, forget that. That's a thing of the past in terms of defense. It seems like it's too cool to play defense in the NBA All-Star game, right? So, like, the NBA needs to do something, and I think that the NBA, I think there are a couple of things the NBA could do to get a really intense All-Star game, beginning with having the USA players versus the world players, okay? You get all the best world players on one team against USA players, like, that would be lit. But, all right, so now, though, as I said last night, I saw the best All-Star game that I've seen in years, and that was the WNBA All-Star game, which, and like I said, when I first saw this format, I said, you know what? This is going to be something that will get them to go hard, because last year I was disappointed in the WNBA All-Star game because I tuned into it and I saw the same thing I saw in the NBA games. No defense being played, all right, none, all right? I was like, wow. But we had this year, WNBA, okay, first of all, we know that they are having unprecedented attention and ratings and all that. Ticket sales with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese coming into the league this season with all of their rivalry in college. And it's very interesting because I always said, before the season that the college basketball was more popular than the WNBA. But the WNBA was where the best players were and the highest level of competition because that's the pros. But, all right, college basketball, the women's game, women's Final Four got much more attention and was more popular than WNBA. But now that's starting to change. And Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, all right, they're the biggest reasons why. All right, people now finally paying attention, all right, to the pro game after those who left college. And last night was the WNBA All-Star game. For those who don't know, it was an All-Star game where both teams were WNBA players. One team was a team of WNBA players who got selected to represent the United States in the Olympics for the women's basketball team. The other 12 were players who were not selected. So it was those two teams facing off, and we had, as I'm joined here by Kayla, it was a butt whipping last night that the ladies who were not selected to make the Team USA, they destroyed the USA basketball team who are their fellow.
Yes, they did. They went out there with something to prove, and those 12 were selected by media and the fans. So it's like similar to the NBA, where it's more of a popularity contest when it comes to All-Stars. But they were out there. They went with something to prove. They're like, we weren't selected for the Olympics, but we're going to show you that there's a lot of talent here in the WNBA, and they came to play. I mean, your favorite player, you said it here multiple times, Arike Gumbawale went off.
Yep.
And we're... just when we were walking in, you were telling me how surprised you were that she wasn't on the Olympics roster, and she actually withdrew her name. We know the Olympics is not always the best player, but sometimes more about fit and who is the best fit for certain players that are already on the team. But I feel like she really deserved the spot, and I wish she would have kept her name and went through the tryout process. But what an All-Star game.
Wait, so are you saying that she took herself out of...
Yes, she withdrew her name. She said it in a podcast with Giannis' brother.
Who's brother?
Giannis from the Bucks.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, she's Nigerian as well, so she was the first WNBA guest on his podcast.
Okay.
And she had mentioned, it was during the time where they announced the roster, so it was a little controversy, and everybody was shocked, like, oh, Arike was the biggest snub. But she later revealed that she removed her name herself. She withdrew.
Did she say why?
She said because of the fit. She didn't think she would be a great fit. Which I think she said it as a political answer.
Yeah. I mean, I give her credit for not wanting to create controversy because she could have been upset, like, would have created controversy. But I feel like she was probably just being taking the high road about it, because I definitely think that she is someone who they looked over. Like, I don't really believe that she withdrew her name. Like, I've heard people say over the years when they don't get picked for something, or I took my name out or whatever. Maybe that's the case. I don't know, but I look at it like the way she played last night and the way she played 3 years ago with the same situation.
Right, it was the same format.
Same format.
People don't remember in 2021, since they couldn't, because of COVID, they played again in 2021. It was the same format, Team WNBA versus the Olympics. And Enrique, once again, won All-Star MVP. This is the only 4 other people have won more than once All-Star MVP.
Yeah, and, like I said, like last year's All-Star game, they were not taking it seriously. But you put, the 12 women who were selected to represent the United States in the Olympics. I mean, who does not want to play in the Olympics? I mean, some people may not, but most people do. And that's just, to get a gold medal and to say I was a gold medalist with all the great gold medalists that this country has produced and all that over the years, like, that's something that would, mean a lot, playing in the Olympics. And so you have, the 12 women who got that recognition, and then the other ones, 12 who did not, who want to prove, look, we should be on this team. So you knew that was really setting up to be a really competitive game. Like, you hope that they would take it seriously. They did.
I knew they were, just because Team USA didn't have much time to practice. They're already on a flight. They're already in London. As soon as the game was over, they took a flight to London, and this no better game than to help prepare for what's coming.
Yeah, and the thing is that I'm sure that the non-United States Olympic players,
Team
WNBA? Team WNBA against Team USA, even though they're all WNBA players, I don't want to confuse anybody out there. So Team WNBA will, I'm sure, be the toughest team that Team USA will face from this point on. No other country is going to be as good as the players who they face, their fellow WNBA players. So, but I feel like this game definitely shows that there are some players on the team who should not be there. And if we're talking about just who had the 12 best players in the game, because Enrique, she should be on the team. And
I agree. If you pick the best 12 now in the league, there are definitely some players on Team USA. For example, I don't want to. Yeah. But Brittany Griner, maybe.
Okay. If you look looking. I mean, I've seen her. I don't know. Like, I haven't watched her as closely as you have this year. I've seen her put up some numbers. I've seen some games where, I'm looking at her and she looked pretty good. But like,
and she has. But I mean, when you think about the 12 best right now,
I'm sorry. Somebody. I gotta say, I'm sorry, but Sabrina Ionescu, I don't think she should be on the team. I don't think she's one of the top 12 players on the team. Beginning from the playoff last year, like, to me, she didn't play that well. She got exposed.
But this year, she's off to a great start. I mean, she's been player of the month every month. Alongside Asia Wilson.
You know what? I'm saying right now, she can't shine Enrique Oguamuwela. I'm sorry, I messed her name up.
Enrique Ogumbawale.
Yes, she cannot shine Enrique's shoes at all, at all. I mean,
how about Diana Taurasi, who's been to
her
4 or 5 Olympics?
I'm sorry. Diana, you know what? At least Diana, I can see it. Like, she's a legend. But yeah, she's somebody who came to my, I'll tell you, the 3 names who came to my mind last night who are not better than Enrique, Sabrina, Diana, and Jackie Young is nice, but Jackie Young is not even as good as Enrique. I'm sorry. She's not. And
Jackie was given the assignment once Enrique got hot to defend Enrique.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the best defenders.
Yeah. And I'm sorry to those who are listening who did not watch the game. Ogumawale, she had 0 points in the first half. 0.
She went 0 for 2.
She had 0 points in the first half, right? When the game was over, she had set the All-Star game scoring record, okay? She had, 32 second-half points?
32 points, 8 3-pointers, and 21st of those points came in the third quarter alone.
Yes, and like I said, She is my favorite player in the WNBA to watch, and that's why. I mean, that's why. Like
she's gonna go get a bucket.
Yeah, she can take over a game. She can take over a game, and that's what she did. And also, I got to give a shout out to the non-Olympic team. All right, their head coach Cheryl Miller, Reggie Miller's sister, who
did all this without a whiteboard or a marker, which was hilarious. I don't know if you saw.
Yeah, people talk about greatest woman player of all time. Caitlin Clark. A lot of people were saying that this year when she was in college. Look, Cheryl Miller is in that discussion, and had she not torn her knee like at the end of her college career at USC, she might have, she definitely would have done even more work, even though there wasn't a WNBA when she was coming out of school, But I mean,
she would have still been in her playing days when the WNBA did start because her teammate
at the end of it, her teammate Cynthia Cooper,
right,
who was also in the GOAT conversation. Like Cynthia Cooper, the first 4 years of the WNBA, she was the best player. She was amazing, and of course Cheryl Swoops, who was also on that Houston team, Houston Comets. But Cynthia,
4-time WNBA champions.
Yeah. So it was. So I felt like I was like, you know what, the Team USA team, they got a little bit exposed in terms of just the roster and who should really be on the team. But you always had that sometime, with rosters, politics. But of course, that's why we're here to call it out. And
there's a little documentary about the Dream, the first team where Lisa Leslie, Rebecca Lobo, and they spoke a little bit about politics and how it plays out.
The 96 team, yeah.
Yes.
I gotta watch that.
So you should watch that. I think it's very similar to what's going on right now in politics and picking the team.
Yeah, and I'll get to it a little later, but we just had that with the men's team, who also, by the way, yesterday, the men's basketball team in the exhibition game almost lost to South Sudan. They won by 1 point against South Sudan. 1 point,
and it was
all right?
LeBron who had the go-ahead bucket.
Yeah, the GOAT saved the United States from embarrassment,
yes,
okay? And, but talk about roster politics. I'll get to it in a little later. We're talking about the WNBA All-Star game still, but Jaylen Brown not getting picked to go to the Olympic team over Derek White.
I was just about to ask that.
Yeah.
How can the finals MVP? He just proved what he can do.
Kayla, that was a joke, okay? A joke. I mean, there's no more roster politics than that right there. And some people were saying that, Nike had the issue with Jaylen Brown because he's the athlete who speaks out on social issues, and something happened between him and Nike or whatever, and Nike's heavily involved with the Olympic team. Now, Grant Hill is in charge of the Olympic team. He's the one that's running the team. He's the one that supposedly is in charge of picking all 12 players. And so Grant Hill, he comes out and says, it was his decision for Jaylen Brown's teammate, Derek White, to come to the Olympic team and not Jaylen Brown. So this happened after Kawhi Leonard, folks. Kawhi Leonard, he was sent home. He was on the team, but he was sent home because he's always injured. He has trouble playing, so he got replaced. And Jaylen Brown should have been the guy.
Load management.
Yeah. Jaylen Brown should have been the guy. He's someone, you said, Killer, won the Finals MVP. He won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He has been an All-NBA player.
I'm the best player on my own team, and there's more teammates
exactly
on the Olympic team.
Exactly. That's the problem. There are 5 starters, all right, obviously. There are 4 American starters on the Boston Celtics team. All of them but Jaylen Brown is on Team USA, okay? And like you said, it's Jaylen Brown. Him and Jason Tatum is their team, okay? Like Derek White, before he got with Boston, was with San Antonio. If Boston had left him on San Antonio, Derek White would never be considered ever of being on the Olympic team. Only reason why he was even a thought is because he got traded to Jaylen Brown's team, and because of that, he was on a team good enough to win a championship. And he's a good player, but he should not be on the Olympic team over Jaylen Brown. I mean, that's just so insulting, I mean, I'm Jaylen Brown. I might want to get a trade. I'm sorry. I mean, it's where's the respect? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got Drew Holiday on the team.
Right.
Derek White, Jason Tatum should be all 3 of them, and he's sitting at home, and they could have, off of merit, there's no way in the world that Derek White should be on there over Jaylen Brown, And then Grant Hill's talking about, oh, no, Derek White is a better fit. Like, and then Derek White is out there in the last seconds. He's out there in the last seconds.
Yeah, it's just
I'm like, what's going on?
There's no way possible. A Finals MVP wasn't even considered.
Yeah, I mean, and Grant Hill says, Nike was not involved in the decision. Well, if that's the case, Grant Hill looks worse. And Grant Hill really took Derek White over Jaylen Brown just because that's who he thought should have been on there. Like that's a joke. And Grant Hill's somebody that we all like. He's a very classy guy. Was a great player before he got hurt, but like that's ridiculous. Like he sounds foolish. And because the thing about it is, Jaylen Brown not being put on the team, like that's a slight for Jaylen Brown. Like Jaylen Brown will look at that and be hurt by it. Derek White could have not gotten picked, and he wouldn't have thought twice about it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not. I believe, Derek White, somebody does not even expect to be on the Olympic team. But Jaylen Brown, so he could have taken that not being on it. But Jaylen Brown, okay, like if I'm Jaylen Brown, that messes up my summer. You know what I'm saying? Now I gotta sit back and watch these my three teammates play on Team USA. I'm sitting home. No.
Yeah, no.
I thought that was so foul. So anyhow, back to WNBA, the All-Star game. Yeah, so
we were talking about how this is the best game we've seen in a long time.
Yes, the best All-Star game I've seen in a long time, because this is the first All-Star game I've seen in a long time where both teams were really trying to win the game, like they were taking it seriously. They were out there trying to win.
It was only up 2 by halftime. It was close all throughout.
Yeah, and the fact that from the beginning you saw that they were taking it seriously from the beginning. And of course, like the Olympic team does not want to lose to the women who were not selected. Like that's a big ego blow. And
in the beginning, I mean, it was the Asia Wilson game.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the half, we know it ended. The Arike Ugumbawale game, she took over, but at first, Asia Wilson started off hot. She had 13 points in the first half, and she was getting MVP chance every single time she was at the free throw line. And just want to say here, if Asia Wilson does not win MVP unanimously, I think this is rigged. I mean, she's still thinking about that 4th place vote last year. She's been playing so great.
Yeah, you know what, Kayla? I thought about you. You know what? I saw your boy talking to Kayla Thornton of the Liberty.
Oh, Rams! Shout out to Kenny.
Yeah. Shout out to Kenny. I hope he's listening. And he was like, Kayla, can we please start the Sabrina Ionescu MVP talk, something like that. I thought about you. I was like,
uh-oh.
I know if Kayla hears that, I know there's no way. And Kayla loves her Liberty, loves Sabrina, but come on now, Sabrina Ionescu MVP talk? Nah.
No, Asia Wilson's gonna win it unanimously. This is going to be her 3rd MVP. I believe she should have had 4. Don't get me wrong, Breanna Stewart was well deserved last season, but I just thought Asia Wilson had the edge. So I know she came out this season, and without Chelsea Gray, they started the season without their point guard. Asia Wilson has really showed. I didn't think you could get better after having 3 MVP seasons and then come out a 4th season and have a better season than your previous MVP years. And that's because she showed a lot of versatility in her game. Without Chelsea Gray, she had to take more responsibility. So she wasn't only in the post. You would see her shooting more middies, being open for threes. So I think this season she just has evolved her game, which I didn't even think you could say about Asia Wilson, the way we've seen her play these past years.
Yeah, and like you said, like since I first met you said that she's your GOAT. And yes, I heard her talking and like maybe a week ago, and somebody asked her, you really must be motivated the fact that you did not win the MVP. And she was like, well, it wasn't even that. But it was like you said, how she finished in 4th place. So that really grinded her gears. And she's been phenomenal again. And yeah, but Sabrina, she definitely did not play like an MVP, somebody worthy of the MVP yesterday.
But I do want to say this about Sabrina. She may get MVP votes, but I doubt it. But she should win Most Improved Player. I think she's played great. A lot of people were saying last year about her game, she's missing the defensive intensity or actually driving to the basket, and she has proven that this year. She has really improved her defensive game, and not only that, she's already a great passer, but without Courtney Vandersloot in the lineup, in and out the lineup, the first half of the season, she has really added passing as well to her game. And Sabrina Ionescu is the reason the Liberty are off to such a great start. The best in franchise history, I think 21-4 right now.
Sabrina is?
Yes.
You think so?
I think so.
Okay. Well,
I JJ as well. I mean, it's a duo. It's probably Sabrina and JJ, but I definitely credit Sabrina for our success right now.
And you know, we'll see when the WNBA season resumes after the Olympics as we go deeper into the regular season and then to the playoffs. We'll see. But like when the pressure gets ratcheted up again, we'll see how she performs compared to last year and then even last night. You know, when big time stage, she didn't really show out last night the way last year in the playoffs. Like she had a really good first game, and then after that, Natasha Cloud was like, yeah, we're going to be physical with her. And then next game she was. And, like, from that point on, rest of the playoffs, yeah.
Followed that blueprint, really locked her down. And back to why I credit Sabrina, you know, Breanna Stewart is not having an MVP season like last season. And Breanna was really who we would follow our offense off of. But now that she's not having that type of season, it's really been up to Sabrina and JJ, that duo. So that was nice to see. I mean, it sucks she didn't have a great game in the big stage, like you said, but she's definitely in that conversation for most improved player. And I want to get to the rookies, who two rookies in the WNBA All-Star.
No, just real quick, Breanna had a good game.
She did 31
last
points,
night. Yes.
double, 31 and 10.
Yes.
Despite losing, she really showed that she can carry that Team USA.
And she was showing, like, and the great thing about this game is, it's one of those games where, like, you know it's serious when, like, in the final minute of the game, the outcome was already determined.
But it went down to a 2-possession game. About a minute and 30 seconds left.
Right. A minute 30, but then, like, the lead kind of got, like, spread to over 10. So it's kind of one of those games where, like, you knew, it was about, you know, 9-point game, last 30 seconds or whatever, yada, yada, yada. But, like, usually in that kind of game, all right, the team who's playing defense, they kind of let up. Like, okay, we're done. But, I mean, the losing team, the Olympic team, they were still playing, like, hard. Like, they were still in the game. They still had a chance up until the last. I mean, like, there was a ball that went out of play with about 16 seconds to go, 14 seconds, and Team USA was down by, like, 8 points. Like, it was over. And, like, they're still challenging the play and, like, taking it really seriously. And when they don't get the call, they're upset. And they were playing. They played that game. The
challenge was pretty funny, but the fans in the arena loved it.
Both teams played that game down hard to the last second of the game, and it was beautiful to see. Now, I was just going to say, Breanna, like, she looked like, you could see that she was annoyed that they lost that game. You could see that some of her actions at the end. And but she seems like she may be kind of in cruise control until the playoffs because she wants that championship. So she seems like someone to me who I would not be surprised if come playoff time she turns up. We'll see. Cause definitely, like you said, she's not putting up the big numbers so far. But they were
playing great.
Yeah.
You know, MVP season. And I asked her recently, a couple weeks ago, during a post game, how she felt about this format, and you can tell she wanted to win because they had lost in 2021. The Olympic team also lost. So she has said that she was really looking forward to the intensity of this game. So she knew what they were going to bring from the jump.
Right, and that's twice, though, back-to-back times.
She was upset, visibly upset after the loss. And
there was one play where, in the fourth quarter, where Breanna came to the lane, her Liberty teammate, John Cole Jones, threw the ball back in her face.
And she finished on the other end.
Yes. A pass from Angel Reese.
Yep.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that was nice.
That got me out of my seat. I definitely said, ooh, the teammates. When I saw that, I was wondering, because I've seen them play against practice players at open practices and clips, but I've never seen them practice against each other. So that just made me wonder how their practices are and do they really go at it during practice. Because I would love to see Stewie and JJ again play against each other.
Definitely. And you know that in practice, they definitely going at it because they both came to the team last year, both former MVPs, and so you know it was a battle in practice. Like, okay, you know, like who's better and all that, you know. So yeah, definitely no. But they definitely they're great teammates. they always show each other the utmost respect, and so I love them as teammates. But it was great seeing them be competitors against each other last night.
Yep, Stewie and Sabrina, both from the Liberty, were on the same team. This is Sabrina's first year in the Olympic team, and JJ is not part of the Olympic team, but was selected for Team WNBA. So we had 3 Liberty players representing in Phoenix. And since we're already on the JJ topic, let's talk about the big girl shooting threes.
Yeah, quick question. Do you know if JJ is on the Bahamas national team?
I don't know, actually.
You know what? She might be. I don't know, but
But I don't think they qualified for Paris. So
Okay.
I know she's not going to the Olympics.
Okay. Yeah, so 3-point shootout.
3-point shootout. JJ actually came out and showed out. She made it to the second round against Alicia Gray, who was the winner. But JJ was so close to winning. She was literally one shot. I feel like if she would have took her time, she still had a couple seconds on the clock. If she would have made that last money ball, she would have won by 1. But Alicia Gray, an incredible performance.
Asia Wilson's college teammate.
Yeah, and
South Carolina.
Asia Wilson was front row with her goggles, supporting her best friend. They're actually best friends, and were roommates, like you said, in South Carolina. Won in 2017. But Alicia Gray was the first to win the skills challenge and the 3-point contest. So congratulations to her. She took both prizes home.
Yeah, you know what? That actually reminds me, I like Sabrina. I like her. Like, she seems like she is a great person, great personality, but I gotta get on her. Her and Caitlin. Because they pulled an NBA All-Star weekend with we always complain about how the best athletes, the best dunkers, the best players in the NBA never get into the dunk contest anymore. They never get into it. I always said that
like we used to enjoy watching Vince Carter, Michael Jordan, Dominic Wilkins. We want the best.
Exactly. If the best dunkers in the NBA got into the dunk contest, like, I would pay to watch that. That would be must-see TV. I mean, talking about even LeBron at 40. All right, LeBron. I mean, John Morant, Zion.
Yes, John Morant.
Zion, the best of the best high flyers. Like, that would be amazing. But these guys, to me, their egos are too big. None of them want to lose. They're all scared of losing because, especially LeBron.
You think that's why they declined, Sabrina and Caitlin?
Yes.
Scared to lose?
Yes. And I'll tell you why. Both of them, Brianna nor Caitlin, wanted to smoke. All right, I'll tell you right now.
Sabrina, yep.
Neither one of them wanted to smoke because, like, I feel like Sabrina and Caitlin Clark looked at it like they had nothing to gain by being in it because Sabrina Ionescu, like, she was quick to get into the 3-point shootout with Steph Curry. First of all, Sabrina last year at the event set a record for most threes made in the contest. She won.
Ever, NBA or WNBA with 38?
And then
31, sorry.
I'm not sure the exact number, but I know it was the most. And then she gets into the 3-point shootout at All-Star Weekend, NBA All-Star Weekend in February with Steph Curry. That was a big thing. And so, but like that even though she didn't want to show up and perform horribly and make women look bad, there was still like no pressure on her really in terms of a lot of people did not expect her to beat Steph Curry, who is considered the best shooter ever in basketball history, right? So her losing that, no one's gonna go crazy and rip her. But now,
and she still held her own. She was pretty.
Yeah,
close.
I mean, she almost won.
Right.
So, but now I feel like she looks at it like, okay, now if I get into the WNBA contest again and lose, okay, then how are we going to have her? People talking about next year, NBA All-Star game again. How she want to be facing Steph again when you did not even win the WNBA 3-point shootout? So,
but, I mean, she still holds the record for the most ever. So
yeah,
so she
does.
It's still her.
She does, but
her game.
Yeah, but if she loses now, then she's not like her the image, the.
But I mean, Stephen Curry has lost to his own Splash brother, to Klay Thompson. He also has lost to Damian Lillard.
He has, but
and it's still considered the best shooter ever.
Yeah, but I just think that if Sabrina loses the 3-point shootout, then how are we going to just automatically have her facing Steph Curry again next year? You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, she had more to lose than gain because, okay, she wins. People expect her to win. but she loses. Oh, I'm telling you, like these athletes, Caitlin Clark, if she gets in there and loses, for her, it's a bad look. It's a bad look. You know, like she really has nothing to gain. I mean, yeah, she could go and put on a show and win, but there's no guarantee she's going to win. She loses for Caitlin Clark, that's a bad look. So Caitlin Clark, someone who I'm sure next year in the NBA All-Star weekend, like, you want to see Caitlin Clark and Sabrina in that three-point shootout. So, like, why can't they get in this one? Because they don't want the pressure of losing.
Yeah, I thought
I see it.
the WNBA should have really insisted that they participated in this three-point shootout.
Right. And, of course, you know, like, that would have been good for the WNBA. I'm like, them not being in it.
It would have been the best.
A big letdown.
Event
right.
this whole weekend.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, the game was great, but that three-point shootout
yeah.
would have been everything.
And, like, ultimately, the game would have been the best thing because it's an actual game. They were taking it seriously. But three-point shootout would have been great, too. Like, that was the one thing that the weekend was missing. Sabrina and Caitlin Clark matching up in the three-point shootout. Like, so that was a big letdown, just like it is when we never had the best NBA dunkers in the dunk contest. And so I felt like both of them kind of played like a type of move that we see the best NBA players do with the dunk contest. And they kind of like, you know, so I gotta call them both out for that. I'm sorry.
As you should. You're in the right here. They should have definitely participated, but we'll see. Maybe they didn't want the hype for the first All-Star game. Maybe they're keeping it for a couple years down the road.
And I get it. You know, like, it's easy, you know.
Because
they
we're
just
going
want
to see it happen. It's going to happen eventually, but
I mean,
maybe they didn't.
You would hope. I mean, you would hope, but they big time to this time, you know, they could easily do it again, you know. 'Cause, like, you know, for most of them, it's like, you know, everybody going against them got a lot to gain, you know. Those two, not so much. I mean, yeah, they could put on a show for the fans, but for them personally, they think about it, okay, do I really want to, you know, the same thing with the dunk contest. Same reason why LeBron never got in it. I love LeBron, but, I mean.
LeBron should have definitely participated
but, you know,
a long
like,
time ago.
He was, you know, there's so many years when, you know, so many folks wanted to see him fail. Like, everybody would have been rooting against him, and, like, yeah, if he had lost, like, it's all he would have heard about. Oh, like, LeBron lost, Jordan never lost, and all this, you know. And he's like, dang, I just want to chill. You know what I'm saying? I got enough pressure trying to win NBA games and championships. I don't need this dunk contest, you know, to lose and everybody being on my back for that, you know. And I feel like a lot of the stars have taken that mindset. You know, now you got social media. Guys don't want to get out there and, you know, and have good intentions and look like a fool out there. You know, it's like, it's not easy. So, but.
Yeah, guys back then didn't care as much about.
Yeah. And they were getting paid less, you know what I'm saying? So they were hungrier, you know, because the actual money that they could win you know, money that they could win that really meant something to them. Like, now the players make so much money wherever they make it.
Then it became a rivalry as well, and, you know, Jordan loves competition. You have Wilkins, and it became a every single year thing for a couple years.
Yeah.
So.
And then it's like, you look at the dunk
pride,
and then it's like, you know, so whatever.
But something the fans did get, we didn't get the Sabrina and Caitlin, but we got our rookies.
Yes.
The whole reason why the WNBA is getting so much attention, college rivals, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and they came to the WNBA All-Star game to do what they do best. And Caitlin Clark, what she does best is break records. She broke the rookie record for most assists by a rookie in an All-Star game with about 10. The most in an All-Star game ever is 14. And she was actually trash talking with Sue Bird. And she was trying to break Sue Bird's record, which was 11 on the sidelines there, which was pretty funny to have the legends trash talking with the players on the court. But shout out to Caitlin, really represented Indiana well with her teammate Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell alongside her as well. And then Angel, Miss Double Double is her official name, with 12 points and 11 rebounds. So both players really set a name for themselves in the All-Star game, in their first All-Star appearance.
And now, right, you said that the record for most assists in the All-Star game is 11, right? 11?
14.
14, okay.
11 is Sue Bird's record. She was trying to break because she was mic'd up, so you can hear her talking trash with Sue on the sidelines there.
Yeah. But that was great to see. Great atmosphere. Now, one thing. Okay, so yes, Angel and Caitlin Clark, and they started last night again with their head coach Cheryl Miller, who's very competitive, and like I know, like you know, she was telling them, "Let's go out here and beat Team USA." And, like she was even saying when she was mic'd up too, and she was saying, yeah, like she was saying to the broadcast team, she was like, "I'm telling you, we're going to get them. We're going to get them." But Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, yeah, Angel Reese, you know that I've been very critical of her, just of the whole fallout from championship game 2 years ago. I felt like the way she handled that at the end was wrong, but you know I got to say that I love the way she plays. She's ferocious on the boards, and she has those long arms, and so she like snatches those rebounds down, and she is very good at positioning herself under the basket, using her body, and like she's smart. She knows like how to play the angles. And one thing about Angel Reese is that she is very good in the paint around the basket finishing. Like she's ambidextrous. She can finish with either hand, left or right. That's one of the things that makes her really tough when she's in the paint, when she's rebounding, when she's getting the ball in the paint. I love the way she plays. She's relentless, and she plays really hard, and she's a fierce competitor. And yeah, like she was someone who you can see last night had something to prove too. You know, like the way she was playing, and like she took all the shine from Team USA after the game. She was the one they were interviewing, they were talking to, you know what I'm saying, like Team USA, like...
Yeah, she was at the post game with
yeah, twice. Yeah, yeah, and right after the game with Holly. Yeah, not Caitlin Clark, you know what I'm saying? It was Angel Reese. So,
and Caitlin had a great game. She was passing and feeding everyone, but Angel definitely showed out. The first rookie since Yolanda Griffin in 1999 to have a double-double in the All-Star game.
Now... her 15 straight double-doubles that she's had this year, is that a WNBA record?
Yes, it is.
So already...
the record was about 9, and she pushed it all the way to 15. So good luck for the next rookie trying to beat that record.
Yeah. Shout out to what Angel Reese is doing. Very impressive to set the WNBA double-double consecutive game streak. Very impressive as a rookie, and that was her thing in college. Double-doubles, rebounds, the points, playing tough in the paint, and yeah, and just she 15 in a row now. That streak was snapped by the Liberty, right?
It was at Chicago.
Now,
because she did, they played back-to-back, and when they were in New York, she got her a double-double, and shout out to, we spoke a little bit about it here, the New York Liberty fans came out, showed out, and we're giving her a standing ovation, even though we won and everything, but they were showing Angel the love. A lot of people came out to see Angel. We saw a lot of Chicago gear. Then they went back to Chicago and snapped her streak.
Yeah. Now, okay, now, I sent you like a quick message about it, but I didn't even really like get a chance to respond, but now I'm not even sure exactly what happened. I just saw like a quick little like picture on the internet, and it was saying how apparently in the final seconds, Angel Reese was like 2 points away from having 10 points, which would have given her another double-double. It would have extended her streak, and with Liberty, when Angel Reese got the ball at the end, like the whole team collapsed on her, so she could not score, right?
Yes.
That's what happened, and so they stopped her from getting her streak, and then so I'm not sure. Did Angel Reese look upset when that happened, or she?
No. I mean, she didn't show it, but she probably was upset.
Okay.
But she didn't show it.
Cause I saw some people online.
The fans were definitely upset.
Yeah, some people.
They were like, "You guys were already winning. Let her be," you know.
Yeah, some people were calling it classless and all that. You know, Liberty were like, "Nah, like."
We're not like stat pad over here.
Yeah. And so now the game, Liberty were up by a good amount.
Yes, a decent amount.
Okay, and you know, like.
It wasn't a blowout, though, but...
Yeah. I mean, look, the Liberty did not want her to extend their streak. Like, that meant something to them. And you know what? This is also funny. You probably heard her last night after the game. Angel Reese talking, and she said that she mentioned JJ. She was like, yeah, JJ said that she hates us, that he was playing with them. But JJ was playing with Angel Reese. Of course, they were teammates last night. And Angel Reese said something like... JJ said that she was mad at us because... They
were playing a song. They not like our song.
Because the first loss Liberty had this year, they only lost 4 times, right? The first loss of the year that the Liberty had was at home against Chicago. The first time Angel reached Chicago, play the Liberty this year.
And don't forget the preseason game where they lost badly to Chicago by as well. It was like 40.
Right. So, JJ said after one of those first two losses, I think it was the one regular season game at the Barclays, Angel Reese said that they played Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar, and the Liberty could hear the song coming from their locker room, and so JJ told Angel that she was upset with them for doing that. So Liberty was like, nah, you ain't gonna extend the streak against us. We stopping that. Oh, you wanna play y'all Not Like Us? Okay. Well, we want to end this double streak.
Next time.
Yeah. So, good job by the Liberty. But but Angel Reese, like she's been doing her thing, and she's there with Camila Cardoza, also a rookie.
Also doing her thing. They were actually the first teammates, rookie teammates, to get both get a double in the same game a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So both have started their rookie year, so a successful season.
So now, how is Sky doing this year? I know they're like close to a playoff spot.
Yes, they're at 8, which is the playoff cutoff. The first 8 teams make it to the playoffs, so they're still at number 8. They fluctuate with Indiana, which is pretty funny. Indiana should be at number 9. But the Chicago Sky made a really huge trade.
Oh yeah,
Marina Mabry to the Connecticut Sun. I didn't know if you saw her. You might have seen her in the 3-point contest. She was wearing a Connecticut Sun jersey already. She had gotten traded the day before.
Now, she was in the All-Star game last night, right? Or no?
Yeah, she was. She was in the 3-point contest. Not in the game last night.
Okay.
She was at the 3-point contest with her new jersey. And she hasn't even practiced with the Connecticut Sun yet, but she's already rocking Connecticut gear. And it was a weird trade. Marina Mabry championship with the Sky in 2021. The top scorer for the Sky. Mm-hmm. But it was seen that her and Kennedy Carter, who was coming off the bench and who has been the most consistent player for the Sky, probably wanted that starting position, and it forced Marina Mabry to request a trade. But I think the trade worked out for both teams. A lot of Sky fans might not see why trade their best player right now, but for the Sun, who have been to the championship before, have been to the Eastern Conference with Liberty, really need another scorer to get them to the top. As we know, they started the season with the best record, but are currently at number 3 around in the standings, number 2 in the East under the Liberty. So they really needed a player that can maybe give them that edge against the Liberty in the Eastern Conference. And the Sky received Mariah Jefferson, Rachel Bannum, another great 3-point shooter, but doesn't have those guard skills, those point guard skills as Marina Mabry. But they also received 2 first-round picks for next year's draft. And as we know, the next year's draft is just as stacked as this year's. We have Paige Beckers. We have a lot of different players. Raven Johnson from South Carolina.
Yeah, the one from who just went to play with Juju at Carolina. I mean, not Carolina, at USC. The one that was with Stanford last year.
From Stanford, yes. Yeah. Kiki Riafen.
Kiki, it's got the same name as the Kiki at UCLA.
Yep, Kiki Rice will also be eligible. So next year's draft is great. As we know, Chicago Sky will most likely not win the championship this year. So they're still in rebuild mode. As we know, they traded Kalia Copper, another championship player, part of that championship year in 2021 to the Phoenix Mercury at the beginning of the season. So they received Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso during the draft. So they're still in rebuild mode, and I see why they made this move. They could easily trade those 2 first-round picks next year for another player, or continue to develop with rookies. So I love this pick for the Sun, because the Sun just got a lot more dangerous with the addition of Marina Mabry.
Okay, cool. Well, first of all, when Jonquel Jones, we're going to get back to her in a second. But, Jonquel Jones. Now, this is something I want to, something that I texted you on Friday and asked if you were watching the 3-point shootout. You were actually at Dykeman. And we'll get to that in a minute, because, Dykeman is a great summer basketball series that I don't know much about, and I've never been to any of the games.
I'm
but
definitely going to take you before the summer ends.
definitely. Now, one thing, when I watch John-Claude Jones, and this is something that I would love to ask her, but if you want to ask her, like, do a story on this, you can. I want to keep it between ourselves. I don't want anybody to take it, but now we're talking about this on radio or whatever. But like, okay, so who do you think is John-Claude Jones' favorite player?
Ever, or a WNBA player, NBA player?
It could be either one, and like either one, and I'm thinking WNBA player. Like when I see her, there's an NBA player who I feel like, and I don't know this, but looking at her, I feel like this is her favorite player, and I see how this player has influenced her game.
And who do you think of?
Kevin Durant.
Okay.
First of all, you look at her number, 35. That's Kevin Durant's number. And she's tall like him. She shoots a three.
She does shoot a little bit like him, the form.
Yeah. I mean, I thought this since, like, last year. But, like, when I was watching the three-point shootout, I'm like, yo, this is, like, the women's version of Kevin Durant shooting right now. And I thought somebody was going to mention it. And I still haven't heard anybody ever mention it. Even I thought, I was like, oh, wow. Tonight, somebody's going to bring up, and they were playing in Phoenix. They were playing in Phoenix where Kevin Durant plays, all right? And I was like, somebody's going to bring it up right now. And nobody did. But she reminds me of Kevin Durant, and I can see that. I bet her favorite player is Kevin Durant.
I'm going to ask her.
Ask her.
Come back from break,
Yeah.
Scrum or something.
Yeah. I mean, she wears his number 35, and she was actually, they were both from Brooklyn for a little bit too before Katie left. But yeah, and so but definitely. Ask her.
I will ask her.
I bet you her favorite player is Kevin Durant. Yeah, and I mean, she almost won the 3-point shootout, like you said. First round, she like smoked everybody. In the second round, she she struggled early, and then she got hot, and then she
started rushing.
Yeah, because at the first rack, she didn't finish the time. So it would have been cool to see her get that, but she lost by one point in that 3-point shootout. She was like the tallest person in the shootout. She faced her former teammate last year, right? Who's with Washington now.
Yes, Big Mama Steph. Shout out to the big girls. The centers were putting on, representing. And she did great as well. Mama Steph from the Mystics. She was with us, the New York Liberty last year. Yeah. And she also had a great performance. Didn't win, but had a great first round. Yeah,
definitely. So now, right, so all right, Caitlin Clark. So Caitlin Clark, what do you think of? I know she had a triple-double recently.
19 assists. Most recently.
The Liberty have only lost 4 games. They have the best record in the WNBA right now. Caitlin Clark and her Indiana team, they beat the Liberty. I think they gave the Liberty their most recent loss. And about 2 weeks ago or so. So that was an impressive performance that she had. So, but just at the other night, she had, a 24-point, 19-assist game. Now, that's the all-time record for assists in a game ever in league history?
I'm not sure.
I think
but I would believe so. 19 assists?
I think, I got to double-check it, but I think I heard that she set the record for the all-time assists record in a single game.
It's actually in my list to rewatch that game today, but I didn't see it live.
Yeah, I think it might have been her last game before the All-Star break. And 24 points, 19 assists. So that was an amazing performance. So, and she's had her struggles, had some games where she's had, terrible shooting percentages. I thought she was shooting, at one point this year, she was shooting 35% from the field, which is low, but...
But one thing that has always translated for her is her passing ability.
So, what are your thoughts on Caitlin Clark's first half so far as a rookie?
I mean, it's exceeded my expectations. In the last 5 years, number 1 draft picks, you have some that are not even in the league anymore. We know this league is one of the toughest leagues. Only 144 players, not that many roster spots. So every single night, it's competition. Every single night, these girls go out there, put on a show. And Caitlin Clark, I expected a larger learning curve for her. Even though the first few weeks she had a lot of turnovers, like you said, struggled with her shooting, but she was always focused on her passing. She was like, if my shooting is not working tonight, I'm going to find another way to help my teammates out. And that resilience and her shooting later came along with it. And now she's doing both double-double, 24, like you said, points, 19 assists. And she has exceeded my expectations. And I can't wait to see what the second half holds for us. Both rookies, Angel and her.
Yeah. And I'm going to get back to Caitlin Clark in 1 second. Angel Reese last night, she made an interesting comment at the end when she was on the panel, and she gotta be careful because they have about a month off now for WNBA break.
She said that she wasn't going to be in the gym.
Yeah. She said she's gonna be chilling, shopping, getting her nails done, her me time. She was like, don't expect to see any photos of me in the gym.
She said photos. Doesn't mean she's not going to be in the gym, but she did say photos.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. You got to be careful what you say, because let's say she comes back and, God forbid, but she has a couple bad games on her first game back. People are going to take this clip and make it viral. They're like, this is why you're playing bad, because you wasn't in the gym.
Yeah, but
I definitely heard that last night. I was laughing, but they deserve it. I mean, you understand where Angel is coming from. The other WNBA players had their off season. Angel and Caitlin haven't had an off season.
Yeah.
And Camilla as well. They made a deep run in the tournament. After that, they've had maybe a week to get ready for the draft, and straight to training camp, and then after training camp, straight to their teams, to their respective teams. So Angel has not had any time for herself. So maybe she said it, I mean, jokingly. I know she's still going to put up some shots and probably light practice, but she definitely deserves, they all deserve this time off, because those who participated in and made a deep run in the tournament really haven't had a chance for themselves.
Yeah, that's a great point, because unlike with the NBA and basketball, college basketball, because the thing about it is the women and men college basketball season is the same time, but the pro seasons are not the same time. They're both not the same time. So for the men, when their college season is over, they have the whole summer to relax and get ready for their pro season. With the women, the pro season starts shortly after the women and men college basketball season. So for the women, like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, they have this whole college basketball season. And then they go right into a new, professional season, a rookie season as professionals. That's not easy. But they do have to be careful. This is something where it's unusual for leagues to just take a big break in the middle of the season. We see it in hockey with the Olympics, because the Winter Olympics, they have the professional players, the best players from all the countries playing for the teams. That's NHL players, so they shut the NHL down. And I'm not a big hockey person, so I really couldn't say how that affected players and teams coming back. But definitely to have your season delayed for a month. If you're one of the players who are not on the Olympic team, then gotta be careful, because you don't want to get out of shape, get out of rhythm. Because the girls who are playing on the Olympic team are going to be in good shape. So hopefully that fares well for the Liberty with Sabrina and Brianna out there, still going hard. But, so that should be interesting. I know with the Liberty, Benaja Laney had surgery, right?
Yeah, so the break does help out a lot of teams who are going through injury, and players who can use that time to recover. Like Benaja just had surgery. Cameron Brink is out for the rest of the season, but she just came out of surgery as well. Shout out to her, who had a rookie who had a season-ending injury. But it's going to benefit the Liberty, because we're going to have Benaja Laney back, one of our starters, one of our best defenders. So I wish her a speedy recovery.
How long is she supposed to be out for?
Just 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay, so this break definitely helps them in terms of her healing, even though they've done a great job of holding it down without her, as they did when Vandersloot was out a few games. But fortunately,
Sably as well, out a few games. Mm-hmm. But she's back as well. She'll be representing Germany. So with
her sister, right?
Yes, with her sister Satu Sably, who I don't know is playing, because she's also out. She's been out since the beginning of the season, hasn't stepped on the floor yet for Dallas. So I think this break will also help her come back and see if Dallas can turn it around. Now, Enrique has been playing by herself.
I was shocked. Like the record is not that good this year, Dallas, with Enrique. Do you know when the trade deadline is? WNBA trade deadline?
I don't know the exact date.
Okay. I was just saying, maybe Liberty could make a deal for, Arike since they're not playing well, Bring
If
it
that
to Liberty.
happens, you'll be at every game.
All right, so
It'll help the Sun. It'll help the Connecticut Sun adjust to their new teammate, because I think the Sun, Connecticut Sun's probably the most hungry team. I know the New York Liberty really wants the championship, but
definitely.
I think the Connecticut Sun has been with that core for a while. They have lost with JJ to the Aces, without JJ to the Aces. I mean, to the Liberty. So
now, when did they win their championship, Connecticut?
they haven't. They've been to the finals 4 times.
Wait, also Sun has never won a championship.
No, and they've been to the.
Oh, they haven't.
No, they have not won, just like the New York Liberty, and have been to the finals 4 times, just like the New York Liberty.
Oh wow, I thought they won one before. Okay.
So they're the 2 Eastern Conference teams that are really.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, the Connecticut Sun definitely worry you, because they are a team that's capable of beating Liberty. But then I think about it, I forget that with the WNBA playoffs, there's no more Eastern Conference, Western Conference, so it's just every team is seeded. Teams. So yeah, but the Liberty, they've got to. I mean, if they don't get back to the finals this year, it'll be a disappointment. But I mean, just how do you, when you look at the Liberty team right now, like we said, it's 17-4, right? Best record
21-4.
21-4, excuse me. Best record in WNBA. Now, what do you think that areas they can tighten up at to really make them a complete championship team?
I think it's just having the entire team healthy. They have been playing great. They have been holding it down without their team being healthy, and by that I mean Slew in and out the lineup, and Angelini in and out in the lineup, who I think got snubbed for the All-Star game. I forgot to mention.
You do?
Yeah, yes, I do, because Angelini missed less games than Kelsey Mitchell, who was voted. Kelsey Mitchell didn't even start the season for Indiana. But because we know the All-Star game is a popularity contest, and the Indiana Fever have a lot of new fans. They voted Caitlin Clark's teammate, Kelsey Mitchell, to be an All-Star. But I honestly, and Rem, shout out to Kenny, who made a post about this, how the New York Liberty fans, we let Benai Jelani down, because she definitely should have been voted an All-Star. But I feel like everyone being healthy is what's going to be key for the New York Liberty. And what we improved on from last year is our bench. Feedish has been playing great, has been starting in and out the starting lineup when Slew and Laney are out, and she has held it down. Kayla Thornton, who is another player who played last year, has really improved her game and has been consistent. Not only in the paint, she's really tough, but is also shooting threes. So I think it's just having a healthy team for the second half of the season.
So you think that with everybody fully healthy, that they have a good enough team to win the championship?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like the Liberty is the team to beat right now.
Okay. And like I said,
despite the Aces being the back-to-back champions and having Chelsea Gray back, so seeing them this second half is going to be very different, because the Aces are not the same Aces team that we saw last year. Aces were blowing out everyone last year, but now they're seeded fifth, 16-8. So, but I still think the New York Liberty are the team to beat.
And I just want to say, this is WHCR 90.3 FM. You're listening to WHCR Sports. This is Samori Benjamin and Kayla Abreu here, Women's Hoops on Instagram. Yeah, it's Chelsea Gray. Now, she got hurt last year in the finals against Liberty in September or early October. Now, she was out. Was her injury, she just came back, was that from when she got hurt last year against Liberty?
Yes, it was.
So
and then she got surgery and just needed the time to recover, and it just spilled into the season.
Did she have an ACL tear? Do you know what it was?
I don't know exactly what it was. I did, but I just don't remember off the top of my head right now.
So, all right. So, from what you've seen from her, because she's starting for Team USA, and they got exposed last night. Does she look like she has it all together right now?
I think she does.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not judging based off the All-Star game, just off the games that she has played with the Aces so far. I think they do have it together.
And she just got back, right?
Right. She's about 2 weeks now.
Now, Kelsey Plum was on the last Olympic team, right? I heard that last night. I was surprised that she made it so quickly because she probably stopped playing in college around, 2018 or so? Mm-hmm. So
it was surprising because she wasn't even a starter for the Aces when she came out of college. And she was the #1 scorer.
Yeah.
She literally won 6 Women of the Year before she even became a starter for the Aces, being the #1 draft pick.
Yeah, I was surprised that she was on the team already. And 'cause I see some people like Enrique, I don't understand how she hasn't made it yet, but that Kelsey Plum this is her second team. I'm like, wow. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting. But okay, so
and it's Alyssa Thomas's first. Who should have been on the team? I think so. She did go through some injury though. I think around that time, maybe that could have been the reason she wasn't. As we know, she plays on 2 teared librums in her shoulder, so she has shoulder injury. So maybe that's why she wasn't selected the first time. But she's had the numbers for it.
Yeah, she's tough, man. She's tough. I like watching her play. She means business. She means business, and she's very serious. And
which another good storyline.
Yeah.
Her fiance, DeWanna Bonner, was on the other team last night. Yeah. DeWanna Bonner was on Team WNBA while Alyssa Thomas was on Team USA for the first time. That's a nice storyline. They both play for the Connecticut Sun.
Yeah. Definitely interesting dynamic there that you have in the women's league. Yeah, that was very cool. It's the Olympics. Now, I wanted to look at the Team USA roster really quickly because I feel like now, just looking at the roster.
Let me pull up the roster.
Yeah. Let's go by each name, and I want you to tell me if you think that player should be on the team based on some of the other players who are not on the team. I'm just interested because last night it seemed like there were definitely some mistakes made.
So starting off with Nafisa Collier, Minnesota Lynx. I think she's definitely deserves to be on the roster.
Okay.
Especially the way the Lynx have been playing this season. Kalia Copper, first timer. Championship with the Chicago Sky in 2021. Now she's a Phoenix Mercury. Kalia Copper, first timer. I love the pick. Chelsea Gray, the point guard, of course. Brittany Griner, that was one of the names we had mentioned earlier.
Right.
Who,
Brittany Griner just sometimes when I look at her, she look like she's just there for you, like whatever. I'm here, you know what I'm saying? I'm Brittany Griner.
No, she was a beast in her day.
Oh yeah, and like I said,
but
I've seen her play some really good games this year. Like I swear, when I turn on a Mercury game, I see her doing damage. Sometimes I'm like, dang, they should pass her the ball every time because she, you know what? And she's always played with mean, but she plays with an edge,
But yeah, they should pass her the ball more often. But that dynamic there in Phoenix is pretty new, just with so many ball handlers like Kalia Copper. And you have T. Cloud, came from Washington, used to playing with the ball in her hand. Same with Kalia. So then you have DT, another person who usually plays with the ball. And then we have Sabrina Ionescu, the New York Liberty.
Quick question, I'm sorry. Tina Charles, I saw her walking in last night, and her outfit was but I didn't see her. Was she on the team? Was she on the All-Star team last night?
She wasn't on the All-Star team.
She was there, though.
But she was there in attendance, and she plays for the Atlanta Dream right now.
Yeah, and she's probably going to be a Hall of Famer when she's done. Okay.
Yes, she is.
So, Sabrina, okay, yeah.
And we have Sabrina Ionescu, my girl, for the first time.
Yay or nay?
Yay.
Okay.
Jewel Lloyd, automatic yay. I think so. Leading scorer last year when it was all said and done. Seattle Storm. Kelsey Plum from the Aces, Brianna Stewart from the New York Liberty, and Diana Taurasi. This is her probably 6th, 5th.
Yeah. I know. You said earlier, you said a few weeks ago, it's kind of time for her to wrap it up.
Yeah. Alyssa Thomas from the Connecticut Sun, first timer. Asia Wilson, Jackie Young, teammates. And
do you think Jackie Young should be on the team?
I think so, but not over Enrique Ogunbowale.
Right.
So if you give me the option, then I would pick Enrique. But without Enrique, I think Jackie Young is the perfect pick.
Jackie Young or Sabrina. Enrique is on the team and one got to go. Sabrina or Jackie, who's going?
Not to be since this is about fit, I would say Sabrina would have to go.
Oh, here
just
we go.
Because Jackie Young could keep up with defensively.
All right, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I would have Jackie and Enrique on before Sabrina.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
don't get me wrong, I love Sabrina. Out of the three, she's my favorite.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about what would work best from a basketball standpoint, definitely it would be Jackie and Enrique.
Yeah, see, and you see, folks, that's what it's about, objectivity, because we're Liberty fans here, but, we're being honest,
Yeah.
Were there any more names on that list? Or
No, that was the 12 right there.
Okay. Yeah, so okay. And so
I think those are the only players who are really interchangeable. Maybe Kalia Copper you can add to the list as one of the 3 players, interchangeable players. But everyone else I feel like it's an automatic yes.
Now, off the top of your head, or you can look at the other roster, if there were like the top 3 most women who are like next in line, who you think are with the top 3 most deserving who were not on the Olympic team, who would you say?
From Team WNBA?
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised DeWanna Bonner hasn't played for Team USA. She's number 5 all-time scorer in the WNBA.
Really?
Yep, DeWanna Bonner. She broke the record in the first game back in the home opener against Indiana. So that's probably a player who is deserving, but will never get a chance to be. She's 35 now, so she's.
It's a wrap.
Yeah, it's a wrap for her. But
and Thomas is how old? Her fiance.
Let me just look here. Early 30s.
Okay.
Has to be. She is 32.
Okay. Yeah. So
this was definitely her year to make it or break. I mean, the Alyssa Thomas could still go, if healthy, can still play again in the next 4 years, but this is probably one and done for Alyssa.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. So you said DeWanna Bonner and 2 more.
I'm saying the roster.
Mm-hmm. And maybe wow. Yeah, like
I mean, Enrique, of course. We mentioned.
Right. So one more. Who you think?
JJ, but JJ is now Team USA.
Yeah.
Wouldn't go and represent USA.
Yeah. Even though she probably could, because she probably.
Aaliyah Boston. Maybe not this season.
Yeah.
Not this season, but definitely in the next 4 years, I see Aaliyah Boston being part of Team USA.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, but you think right now, she would be the 3rd most deserving off of the roster that did not.
Yeah, I would go with DB.
Oh, okay. Aaliyah Boston, DeWanna Bonner, and Enrique. Okay. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Do you know, as far as the Olympics, do you know who their biggest challenge might be? It used to be Australia for a while, but Australia, because they had like Lauren Jackson, who was the MVP of the WNBA a few times, but I'm not even sure.
I'm not sure who would be their biggest competition. I mean, Canada, I know, has a few WNBA players. Letitia Mean here. They have Kia Nurse, and a few more. Aaliyah Edwards, who's a rookie.
Oh, yeah.
Who's going to be a rookie in the Olympics. Congratulations to her. The only rookie who's representing in the Olympics.
Okay.
So shout out to Aaliyah Edwards and Team Canada. Who's our 3 WNBA players. Germany is pretty tough. They have Leonina Fibic from the New York Liberty. Then they have Niara Savali, also from the New York Liberty. So 2 teammates from our Liberty squad representing for Germany in the Olympics. Then Satu, if healthy, will join that squad. So Germany can also be a force for the USA. But I don't think there's much competition for Team USA.
Yeah.
Compared to the men, I think our roster is way better.
Yeah. There's probably not going to be any competition. So it really does not matter. Some people got, even though I feel like Enrique should be on the team, it doesn't matter. They're still going to beat everybody.
China was their biggest competition last year in qualifying.
Okay.
When they went to Australia last year, China was their biggest competition.
Now you mentioned the men's team, and the men's team, they have a stacked roster, but there are other countries that have rosters that are good and that can compete. But the USA team, it's with the men, it's weird because I don't know. From one aspect, it's like I want to see them dominate everybody and be everybody because people talk about how the world has caught up with the United States, and we definitely feel like we're the best in basketball, and we feel like when we have our best players that no one is seeing us. But you look at like the top 5 MVP guys, all of them are international players, I believe, where you had Shai Gilgeous, Alexander, Jokic, who won, Luka, of course, Giannis, and
Jose Alvarado has been putting on for Puerto Rico.
Yeah, Alvarado's the man. He'll be playing for Puerto Rico
and he helped them qualify for the Olympics in an amazing game in Puerto Rico in the Choliseo. They even had famous Bad Bunny was out there. Osuna. They had a couple Puerto Rican WNBA players supporting as well. So he's feeling like the man because Puerto Rico really showed out for that qualifying game, and it was cool to see them. Other countries play in Puerto Rico, which was unfair. They had home court advantage, but it was cool.
Yeah, and that's the first time Puerto Rico has qualified for the Olympics in basketball since 2004. In 2004. Do you know what happened in the first game in 2004?
Is it JJ Barea?
You know what? Actually, Carlos Arroyo. So the first game that the United States played in 2004, and they had Tim Duncan was on the team. This was LeBron and Carmelo and Wade had just finished the rookie year, but they weren't really playing at all. Because Larry Brown was the head coach. Larry Brown was like wilding. And Allen Iverson. The starting guards were Allen Iverson and Stephon Marbury. They had Lamar Odom was on the team. Richard Jefferson, Shawn Marion. They had a talent. Amari Stoudemire, young Amari. Yeah. The first game, they played Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico destroyed them. It was crazy. I'm watching the game, and like Carlos Arroyo's like crossing dudes over, and making dudes fall, making jump shots, and like turning to the camera and like showing the Puerto Rico and all that. That was crazy, and that was real crazy. And like the United States ended up winning like bronze that year, I think. They lost like 2 or 3 times after that, and then it was
in Athens.
Yeah. And
I remember.
And what was crazy about that, Kayla, is that Larry Brown, the head coach, he had just come off of winning the championship with the Detroit Pistons. And in an NBA Finals victory where the
team that should have drafted Melo.
Yeah. They drafted Darko. And Darko did nothing for them. That's crazy because...
That same year.
Won. Because the year before, they had made the Eastern Conference Finals. They got swept by the Nets, but they had the number 2 pick. I forgot how they got it, but they had number 2 pick in that year's draft, and they ended up drafting Darko, who was like, never did anything. And it's funny because they actually interviewed him one time. He was a Knick for like 1 season, Darko, and like he was really upset. He was an angry man. And I was like, man, like, he was cursing and everything. He was like, yeah, like Larry, he was just like upset. Like he felt like he got treated badly or whatever. Like he said Larry Brown didn't like him, didn't want him, and all this stuff. But so the Olympic team in 2004, Larry Brown had just come off of winning the championship with the Pistons, and what was the most shocking outcome I've ever seen in the NBA Finals, because the Pistons that year were facing the Lakers, Kobe, Shaq, and the Lakers that year had signed Gary Payton, Hall of Famer, and Karl Malone, Hall of Famer.
If the Lakers would have won, would that have been a 4 in a row? Or
Not because they had lost. So Lakers won championship in 2000, 2001, 2002.
Okay.
In 2003, the Spurs beat them in the playoffs. And I remember Kobe was like really upset, kind of like in tears when they lost second round that year. Spurs won the championship that year. They beat the Nets. Then the next year, we're talking about now 2004, the Lakers beat the Spurs again in playoffs, and then they got back to the finals. So it would have been 4 championships in 5 years had the Lakers won. But Lakers were heavy favorites. No one thought Detroit was going to win the series. Lakers had home court advantage, to start the series, and like the Pistons won Game 1 in LA. Like that was shocking, but no one still thought that the Lakers were going to lose the series. Lakers won Game 2 at home, and then they went to Detroit for 3 straight. Detroit, series never got back to LA. Like Detroit destroyed them with a beatdown. And I was like, wow, like Larry Brown, like that was like the most impressive coaching job I had ever seen. Like, wow, you took these guys and beat Kobe and Shaq and Karl Malone and Gary Payton, and that was the last time that Kobe and Shaq played together. Shaq got traded to Miami after that season, and Karl Malone and Payton, they left, so they were only with the Lakers for 1 year. And then it became Kobe's show in L.A. So after that, in the Olympics, Larry Brown was the coach. You're like, oh, he's a great coach. He just, won the Pistons, beat the Lakers. It was a complete mess. It was a S-H, you know what show.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And so the next year, 4 years later, that was the whole redeemed team. And, like, they had to, like, come and, like, put a smack down.
Led by Kobe. Carmelo did great for us during that time. And LeBron, too. But, yeah, shout out to the redeemed team.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta, bring it up, because you mentioned Carmelo. I always say, like Carmelo every 4 years, he would run to the Olympic team because the only time he could win anything was in the Olympics, but with the...
now.
No, but shout out to Carmelo and his son because I saw they were playing.
Carmelo was taking strays on this nice Sunday.
I just had to bring it up,
Hey, Kyan is doing his thing.
Yeah.
Dropped 40 the other day.
Yeah.
At a rivalry game, actually in Baltimore for his AAU.
He scored. It was 40. He scored.
Yes, 40. He had another one with 27. But he's really been balling, making his father proud, keeping the Anthony name.
Yeah, because what it was like, from what I understand, it was a big rivalry in the DMV area. It was Team Melo versus Team Durant. Durant from the DC area, Carmelo from the Baltimore area, which is what I always said when he came to New York. It was like he was always like, oh, I'm coming home. You're from Baltimore. You know what I'm saying?
Born in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Shout out to Red Hook. Shout out to Brooklyn.
So
he has that New York attitude, though. He has that swag to him.
Yeah, he does. Which is why everybody loves him, because he's the homie. You know what I'm saying? The culture loves him. But Team Melo versus Team Durant, and they were saying that was a very, very serious rivalry. I saw that one of the kids on Team Durant got in Kyan's face, Carmelo's son's face, and all that. And
Carmelo had to break it up.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, from what I saw, like Kyan was doing his thing. He has skills. He has more skills, women's skills than I ever had. Like 16 years old, over here dunking the ball already, and it's funny because I remember him like covering the Knicks, like him being a little kid in the locker room, like running, like how they have the scrum around the player, and like Kyan literally getting on his knees, like crawling between the reporter's legs to like where his dad is. Yeah. So like now, like
Kyan to the Knicks.
Hey, it's possible. If you got the game, it definitely could happen.
How are you feeling about our Villanova Knicks?
You know what? I love it. The one thing I'm a little concerned with is I like Dante DiVincenzo a lot, and he was starting shooting guard, and it took him a while to get a starting spot in the NBA. I mean, he was starting shooting guard with the Milwaukee Bucks the year they won the championship, but he got hurt in the first round of the playoffs, so he wasn't there for the playoff run. And then the next year, he lost his job, and then he was with Sacramento for a year, then with Golden State for a year, like coming off the bench. And then the Knicks signed him, and he was coming off the bench for a while. And then Thibodeau swapped him and Quentin Grimes in the starting lineup, and he took off. He played great. So I really don't want to see him now have to lose his starting spot at shooting guard. So, but we'll see how it plays out. And I heard somebody say, they I don't know, but
does it really matter who starts the game? And I say this because you see the South. I know it's a different ball game, college, women's, but South Carolina, their bench can be starters in any other college team. And the way Dawn Staley uses her players, how she knows when to interchange them. When you have so many great players, wouldn't it work out to their benefit if they know how to play unselfishly? And do you think it really matters that him coming off the bench or him starting with Mikal Bridges?
Well, you said it. You said it right there. Will they? And will they do it unselfishly, and all that? And so, and you're right. If you take out the egos, then it's fine. Even though I feel like, for one, shooting guard, I feel like DiVincenzo, a shooting guard, I like him better as shooting guard because I think he has a better shot than Bridges. And that's what it is, shooting guard. And, just watching Brunson and DiVincenzo last year, they had great chemistry, playing together in college. But, of course, Bridges had that same chemistry with Brunson, too, playing at Villanova. You definitely could see the chemistry between Brunson and DiVincenzo. And also, I just feel like DiVincenzo, as much as people, we talk about the Villanova four being together and all that, and I know they love each other, and it's a great thing on the surface, but I feel like somebody's going to lose playing time, and it's not going to be Brunson, of course. But DiVincenzo is somebody who you could tell like he really had to fight to get back to where he has gotten with the Knicks now. And I know he does not want to come off the bench and lose a starting spot. He's starting with the New York Knicks now. In the playoffs, he showed a lot. I mean, he got into Mel Turner's face. And even I feel like in Game 3 with the Knicks, they were up 2-0. And I feel like the biggest reason why they lost Game 3 when they had all those guys hurt and nobody thought they were going to compete in Game 3. And then they had a 9-point lead in the fourth quarter and then ended up losing the game. And I feel like a big reason why they lost that game, and no one really said anything about it, is that, DiVincenzo had 37 points early in the fourth quarter, was rolling, and then he didn't take another shot until like under a minute to go in the fourth quarter, and Knicks, had blown the lead with all that. So he in that game, he showed me a lot. Game 7, he had 30-something points too, and no one else was doing anything. He showed me a lot of heart. So I really, I would hate to see him have to come off the bench, and I know he does not want to. He'll definitely say the right thing, all that. But I definitely know he will want to start. And even though Mikal Bridges is his boy, I know he don't want to, necessarily. Okay, now he's coming to my team. I was already here. Now you're starting now. I mean, I don't think he's gonna be feeling that. Like I said, he may not say anything.
Yeah.
And then Josh Hart,
Do you think they really tell each other the truth since they have a relationship, beyond just being teammates or just being traded? Like, they're actually bros. I mean, they hopped on a FaceTime call as soon as the trade happened.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I was when the trade happened, we were at the Commissioner's Cup game. Okay, yeah. So all the fans started going crazy, and I'm like, why is everybody going crazy looking at their phones? That was shocking. And everyone was just sharing the news about the trade. Yeah, that was shocking. But I feel like they're gonna get along just fine, just because they have that friendship beyond just being teammates. Yeah, they're gonna get along, but deep down, I know DiVincenzo, and then your family. And then families, see this, and then they're talking to him okay, it's great that probably somebody's in his ear. Yeah, it's great that because eventually, it's all about opportunities, all about putting up stats so you can get paid to. You know what I'm saying? If you don't play, that's less time for you to be able to put up numbers to get that contract. And it's just I just feel like DiVincenzo, you go to the bench. Sometimes your minutes are not even guaranteed from game to game, and he played such a big role last year. The fans love him. Now it's not going to be as much opportunity for him if he's coming off the bench with Bridges, and so deep down, is he really feeling that? I don't think he is. If he's going to lose minutes, but we'll see. But I would rather see DiVincenzo start it too, and have Bridges come off the bench. But I know that's probably not going to happen. But we'll see how it plays out. Hopefully Julius Randle is still there. If he's not healthy. Yeah. So we'll see. But on the surface, it looks like a great move. Definitely the Knicks, you got to be very happy about them going into the season. Yeah, we can't wait till the season starts again for them. And it's time. It's been 54 years. It's time for real. It's been 54 years. Same for the Liberty. Exactly. It's been way too long. Exactly. Same for the Liberty. So we've been so close so many times. Yeah. It's about time we make it over the hump. Yes. So, so, right now we have 2 top basketball teams in New York City. Liberty are hot, 21-4, best record in the WNBA, trying to make it back to the WNBA finals where they were last year, a place they had not been since 2002 before last year. And so that's, we're looking forward to a great, playoff run once the regular season resumes and we get down to the end again. And then the Knicks, they start right after that. So it's time for both of them. So at least, happy that we have 2 great stories, and we'll see what each team does, And what's up with the Yanks? I mean, one day they're winning, one day... I mean, I don't keep up with baseball. I know, like you do. So I have to ask you, do you think the Yankees a championship contender this year?
Yeah, the Yankees, okay, so, like I said when I first came on, first 2.5 months of the season, they had the best record in baseball, and then like last month, they've really been struggling. They've been playing like a last-place team in terms of the record, but because they got off such a good start, they still are just 2 wins behind the best record in the American League. And the Yankees, I think ultimately they'll be okay. It's a long baseball season. You have 162 games, and the last 2 seasons they had similar spells where they, in the middle of the season they were like struggling to win. Like 2 years ago, they were also on like a record-setting pace in terms of wins. And, you had Judge and Stanton were hitting home runs left and right, offense scoring a lot of runs. And then like, Stanton got hurt, which he gets hurt every year. I love Stanton, but he's always hurt. And he gets hurt just, like, doing nothing. It's crazy. Like, he's just a big, strong guy. Looks like he's in great shape, like, the most fit person, but he gets these injuries. But just walking, yeah, I know, right? and at least, like, AD is, like, he's skinny, so he looks like he could, fall down and get hurt. Like Stanton is like this Adonis, but he gets hurt just jogging on the bases, or one time 2 years ago he got hurt swing. He was having this great season 2 years ago, and then he like pulled his hamstrings like swinging the bat, like practicing in the batting cage, yeah. And then like this year he gets hurt just running around the bases, and it's crazy because we've seen times like last year. There was one time last year where he was on base and the ball was hitting to the outfield, and so he was on second base. So so he was on second base, and then he was like rounding the third base, and he's like kind of like jogging to the plate, and he gets thrown out, right? And it's like a horrible look, and everybody's like, what is he doing? What is he doing? But he was doing that because they don't want him to get hurt, They don't want him to open up and like pull his hamstring, and so they're like, you know what? Just like don't open up, and like what happened? They should have held him at third base, But
second, right?
Yeah, well, he was on second, so he should have gone in third and then stopped, not try and go from second to home.
Oh, so he went, okay, he gotta go home.
Yeah, and then like like the camera catching they're showing him, it's like a play at the plate, and he's like jogging, and he's like,
if you're gonna jog, you might as well stay at third.
Yeah. So like, but so the coach I sent him, but anyway, so like Stanton, 2 years ago he got hurt, and then like he was out for a while, and then the team for like 2 months was like playing at 500, like not playing that well. That was the year that Judge had broke the record, 62 home runs. But like he was having a great year, so he carried them for like the second half of the season into the playoffs. And last year, Judge got hurt last year. He was out for like 2 months, and the Yankees struggled. It's just the rest of the lineup is not doing much at all. Then you have a lot of guys like Alex Verdugo, who was with Boston last year, who I interviewed last year with the Red Sox, and great interview.
Oh, that's funny. He played for the rival last year.
Yeah. And it's funny because like the year before that, he got into it with the fans in the outfield. Like it was raining, and then like the fans were throwing stuff at him, and then he turned around and got upset. He was like cursing at them. He was like challenging him to a fight. Yeah, and then the security came. It was like, yeah, he was with Boston. So then I interviewed him like the next year. He was mad cool. And then this year in the offseason, he got traded to the Yankees. So I was like, wow. But I haven't, when I'm there, I don't ever see him before the game on the field because I want to interview him again now as a Yankee, But I don't ever see him. So I got to make that happen. But
yeah, you do.
But he is...
Tables turn.
Yeah. I mean, he started off playing really well. He kind of slumped, Then he had the shortstop, Volpe, second year. And he started off really well this year. Now he's been slumping, Anthony Volpe. He was leading off the whole year, number 1 in the batting order. Now he's been dropped to like 6, 7. He's having his issues. Gleyber Torres, the second baseman. He was supposed to be a superstar for them. I remember still like in 2017 or 2019 playoffs, ALCS. And Gleyber Torres hit a home run, I think in game 1 of that series or game 2. I think it was game 1. After Stanton, I remember, but in game 1, and then he got hurt again in the middle of the series. But Gleyber Torres that year hit 38 home runs, and he was a prospect who was a top prospect in the minor league system. They got him in a trade, actually, in 2016, because 2016 the Yankees did not make the playoffs, and they made a trade at the trade deadline where they traded the closer, Aroldis Chapman, to Chicago.
Oh, yeah, it's the picture. I used to love Chapman.
Yeah, to Chicago. Chicago, the Cubs, they had not won a World Series since, in 100 years at that point, right? And the Cubs are trying to win the World Series, so they trade Gleyber Torres, who was a top prospect in the minor leagues, their top prospect, to the Yankees, right? Yankees get Gleyber. They send Chapman to the Cubs. Chapman helped the Cubs win the World Series that year. He's a free agent, though, so in the offseason, Yankees signed him back. So they ended up getting Chapman back, and they still have Gleyber Torres, who they traded for. And so 2018...
Chapman won a championship, so
a
must-win for Chapman.
Yeah. And it's crazy because Chapman, one thing about him that's very he's very crazy. Like you said, he won a championship in 2016 with the Cubs, right? Yankees trade him there. They borrow him. He's on loan for 2 months. Win the World Series. Then he goes back to the Yankees. He does his thing, but he always ended up having playoff collapses against the Astros. And then his last couple of years with the Yankees, he just kind of fell apart to the point where 2 years ago the Yankees he lost his start. He lost his closer's job to Clay Holmes 2 years ago because he ended up having problems. Even though he was somebody who he throws so hard, he throws 100 miles per hour, 102 miles per hour. When he first came in the league with the Reds in around 08, 09, he threw harder than anybody in baseball. And then he was the closer for the Reds for a while. Then he got with the Yankees, and he threw so hard. And there was one point where he would just blow everybody away. But then, as the years went on, more players started throwing hard, 100 miles per hour and whatnot. So it got to the point where, opposing hitters had seen him so often that they kind of got used to him. And so there were times when he would struggle and hitters were laying on his fastball and, they would hit him hard. And then when his fastball, it seemed to me when his fastball was when he didn't have confidence in it, he would always throw these breaking balls and he could never get the ball to play. And, so he ended up breaking down with the Yankees. But so 2 years ago, like I said, he lost his starting job, and then it was a break before the playoffs, and then Yankees had a playoff practice before the playoffs began, but they had not come out with their official playoff roster yet. So Chapman, he had gone home to Miami during a little break, and then he, at the Yankees, before he came back from Miami to the Yankee Stadium for the pre-playoff practice, he asked them, am I going to be on the playoff roster? Because if I'm not coming, So they were like, you know what? Stay where you are. We're done with you. So that's how his Yankee relationship and career ended. So then, that was 2002. Then last year, he's with Kansas City, right? Was not a good team. At the trade deadline, he gets traded to Texas last year. And what happens? They win the World Series. So he now has 2 championships. None with the Yankees. He was with the Yankees for about 5-6 years. None with the Yankees, but he got 2 championship rings. And he also has more strikeouts than any left-handed reliever ever in Major League Baseball history. So he could. So now it's a debate. Is he a Hall of Famer? So that's going to be an interesting debate, But, but Gleyber Torres, he's somebody who he was supposed to be a star. His first 2 years with the Yankees in 18 and 19, he put up big home run numbers. Since then, he's digressed a lot to the point where he may not be here past the trade deadline. So the Yankees, your question, will they be all right? I think they will, but their lineup right now, a lot of guys struggling who are not named Judge and Soto. They play the Mets this week coming up, 2 games in the Bronx. Yeah. First 2 in Queens last month. The Mets beat them pretty good, but I expect payback. In the Bronx, Yeah, so, I think they'll be all right, but they had not won a series for a month up until the last series before the All-Star break. That was against Baltimore. And Baltimore, of course, are ahead of the Yankees right now by 2 games. So it was good to see them go to Baltimore and win 2 games. They should have swept Baltimore, but last Sunday, they were up by one or two runs in the ninth inning, and then their defense, they made 2 errors, and two guys, Volpe and Verdugo, they both made errors that allowed Baltimore to win last Sunday. If it was not for that, it would have been a Yankee sweep last weekend in Baltimore. So now they're playing Tampa. They won the first game on Friday. They lost yesterday. So now they have 2 more games. They have one today and tomorrow before the Mets come in. So they got to take care of business, you know. The trade deadline is coming up, so we'll see if they make a move for somebody. It's going to be interesting in the next couple of weeks, you know. Yeah, and the Mets right now, like I said, they, for like the last, before the All-Star break, the previous 5 or 6 weeks leading up to the All-Star break, the Mets had the best record, playing better than any team in baseball. So, like I said earlier, if the playoff began today, the Mets would be in as a wild card, and the Yankees would be in also in the American League, and so that would be a lot of fun for both of them. So,
what a time for New York City! All of our sports teams are doing great.
Yes. And then
you mentioned earlier at the beginning that they play 166 games.
162.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
It's a lot.
Do you think it's too much?
I do think it's too much. I
know baseball, it's not such a demanding game on the body as it is with like football.
Yeah.
But
no, I think it's too much. I think it's too much.
I also think it's a lot.
Yeah, I think they should cut it down to like 144 or something like that. Yeah, because, 162 is just, I think it's too many games. The thing about it is baseball, they have the history books, record books and traditions. So it's kind of like if you cut the games down, then the numbers that you're going to look at, when you compare players, you're going to say, okay, well, you had, all these players playing in seasons where they played 162. Now, it's not as many, so it may mess it up from that standpoint, but at the same time, I say that, but at the same time, there was a time when they played 154 games up until like 1961. So they have changed it before, but no, I think it's too many games that you cut it down to like 144. And the thing about it, Kayla, is that they play all these games 162, and then they let like, cause it used to only be like 4 teams made the playoffs, right, for the whole league, 4, 2 in each league.
Wow. Out of all, how many teams were there during that time?
It was.
I don't think there were 30 like there is.
It was up until 1995. Like before 95, it was only 2 teams per league. So there were 28 teams at that time, I believe, because there's 30 now. It's 30 now. Mm-hmm. So they added 2 teams since then. So it was 28 when they first. So when it was only 4 teams, it was 28 teams. So you had so it was 2 leagues. You had the American League, National League, like how it is now.
Right.
But it was 2 divisions, the East and the West in each league. And to make the playoffs, you had to win your division. So 4 divisions, 2 in each league. You win your division, then you're in the league championship series. Whoever wins that is in the World Series.
Okay.
Before that, it was 2 leagues: American League, National League. And the winner of each league at the end of the regular season was in the World Series.
Right.
So and that's why it was,
now it's way better with wild card and more different rounds.
Right. But now it's where when they first started the wild card, only one extra team would make it. Okay, and now it's like 3 wild cards. So and what we see now in baseball is that, like, even though I feel like the wild card and more teams definitely is good for the sport because it keeps fan bases interested. Like, if with the way it was when only 4 teams, 2 in each league, it's like, certain teams who were like buried in the standings and the fans are going to check out early. Like, I'm not even paying attention anymore because our team has no chance of making the playoffs. So like,
who's going to sit through 162 games? Of my team just being trash.
Like, and baseball already has enough people who don't find it interesting. So, last thing you want to do is have, the fan bases who, the teams being buried in the standings and they have no chance of making the playoffs, right? So, so that's a good thing. But, what happens is that when the playoffs come, like you see so many teams who had records that were not good, who were not even real close to the top teams. Like, you have these teams who win 100 games, and you play all these games, win 100 games, then you get to the playoffs, and you have like a 3-game series or a 5-game series, and you have a team that won like 81, 82, 83 games, and they could have, a better three days or 5 days than the team that won 100 games. And the 100-win team, they're doing all these games, but now they're out of the playoffs. Like, they're done. So it's like, what's the point of playing so many games when, like, a team that loses, that wins so many fewer games can, knock them out over the course of like a 3 or 5 game series? Like, it really seems like it's not fair. It's kind of like, so that part of it seems stupid because, like, unlike basketball, like with basketball, the most talented team wins most of the time. But like, baseball is a sport where like things can get tricky. Like baseball, even like the best teams lose like 60 games a year. So like anybody can get beat in a series. And like baseball, we know how like the hitters fail more than they succeed. I mean, the best hitters only get a hit 3 out of every 10 times up the plate. So it's like you can be a really great team, but get knocked off in the playoffs, So it's just like, okay, like if you want to have so many games, then why have so many playoff teams? So they should shorten the season, not make them play all these games, shorten the season, and, shorten the season, So
and what things do you think they can do? Let's say if they don't shorten the season, 162 games. The NBA and WNBA have in-season tournament, which is something that fans and even players are starting to look forward to. That give you that little break throughout the season, something different. Do you think what can MLB do? Maybe something similar in that aspect that will keep the fans intrigued. And some fans already think it's a lot to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think the best thing they should do to solve the situation I'm talking about, where you can win, play 162 games and win 100 games, and but then get knocked out by a team that won like 82 games over the course of a 5-game series, and really it's like, okay, we spent 6 months busting our butt being a way better team. Now we're out of the playoffs because this team that only won like 20 games less, they got the best of us over like a 4 or 5 day period. I would say in that situation, just every team that had the home field, just early in the playoffs, in the wild card, especially that, I would probably say, and they even did this with the first round 2 years ago, where the wild card, the team with the best record has all the games in their park, and the Mets had that in 2022. They had to play in the wild card because they lost the division, but they still won 100 games, so they played another wild card team, San Diego, but the Mets had way more wins than them. The Mets had all 3 games of the wild card series at home. They still lost the series.
Wow.
To San Diego, yeah.
I know, but I think the MLB should try something during the season, during the middle of the season, despite not like the All-Star game, something else like the in-season tournament, just to spice things up a little bit.
I mean, it's like the in-season tournament thing is just, I don't know. I feel like they I don't know. They play enough games, so maybe not add more games. But I would say with the All-Star game, they should make it like the world versus the USA. But even if they did that, like baseball is a game where I said when a player comes out of the game, they can't come back in. So unless they're going to have the best players play the whole game, like that's not going to. No one's really going to get into it anyway. But yeah, I mean, but baseball has made some good moves by they put in a pitch clock the last 2 years. That has sped the game up because a lot of people think that baseball is too long. So that's been a good thing. But
But yeah, I love that idea. A world versus USA. There'll be a lot of Dominicans on that world team. But the WNBA actually just saw that Kathy, the commissioner, is thinking about adding 4 more games to next season, which is great. They play 40 right now, which is the longest that they played. Yeah. They added 4 more the last year, so to add another 4 more will be super beneficial to the WNBA. I think 4 games is not enough. The NBA played 80. I know 80 might be a little too much, but somewhere around 50 to 60 will be my ideal amount if we add more teams. So since we're receiving the Valkyries from Golden State and then Toronto in 2026, so adding more games will definitely be beneficial in the WNBA aspect. But MLB needs to do something about that, about the amount of games. That's crazy. Yeah,
and we got about 2 minutes left. So in the future, whatever. But I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I definitely think that the NBA needs to do what the WNBA does and have the Final Four and championship game in the home arena of the team with the best record and not have it at a neutral site, how the NBA had it last year. 'Cause I felt like the Final Four and championship round, the crowd was not really as into it as you would expect a game of that magnitude to be.
And they turned it into pools as well. They made 4 different groups.
Right.
In the WNBA, they just continue to play the regular season games, but just certain ones count for the Commissioner Cup game.
Yeah.
So it's like you're not taking it out of routine. You're just using the same games that you're already playing and counting it towards the Commissioner's Cup.
Right. And my last thought is the NBA, the All-Star game, if they made it USA versus the world, that would be lit. Like you want to see the players get serious, do that, and they'll get serious, you know. Or I would even love to see, you know, and like, you know, you can't do it, you know, if there was some way, if it was like a Team USA men versus the guys who were not on the team, that would be good too. But anyway.
Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen what happens when
yeah.
in the WNBA. The NBA should do it too.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say before we sign off?
Just shout out to the WNBA for putting on an amazing WNBA All-Star weekend. It's probably the best I've ever seen. Shout out to the girls for coming out and giving it their all. It was an intense game, great defensive game. They really set the standard for what an All-Star game, men or female, should look like. So shout out to these women for putting on a great weekend. The fans seemed to enjoy it. It was a lot of talk about it on social media, and I love that we continue to create conversation around the women's game.
Yes, definitely. Like I said, when I came on, the best All-Star game I've seen in any sport, men or women,
happened last night.
In a very long time. Yeah, in years. All right, so this is Samori Benjamin for Kayla Abreu, WACR Sports. Good to be back in studio. I've been out for the last 2 or 3 weeks, so be back here next week, we hope. If there's not asbestos removal in the building, but I'll talk to you all soon. All right, have a good Sunday. Cool.